Warning, this podcast has stories of real-life events and true crime that happens every day. These stories may contain adult language and graphic or disturbing details not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised.
132 in Bush, I've got him at gunpoint. Check your left phone for going to full evacuation at this time. They're pulling them out.
10-1-1, advise ready for campus.
God!
Welcome to another episode of War Stories. I'm Tom.
And I'm Chuck.
And we are live for the debrief because the episode drops on Monday, and we're live on Monday. I wish that was the simplest and easiest explanation.
Yep.
But shit got real around here. And we have a dedication to get to, but we lost someone local. We lost a copper locally here. And so we'll get to that at the end. That will be our dedication. But just know that we'll get there towards the end of the episode. So we kind of pushed our schedule around to deal with some things here because this all happened within the last 24 hours. So we will explain. But to those of you just catching your first live show, welcome. Sam is here. Sam's got his first. Sam looks like a smoke eater. Sam's got to be a freaking firefighter. Look at that.
I can't see it. How do you see their stuff?
You see right there on the screen.
Got it.
Picture. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks like he naps for a living.
Shots fired, or maybe not.
Oh. He's like, yeah,
welcome, Sam.
Definitely do.
Yeah. You know what? Any cop that makes fun of a firefighter for getting paid to sleep is just jealous he got in the wrong line at the academy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
You're damn right. I know I am. Thank you. Fuck yeah. Being honest about it. You probably got a lazy boy too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're just hating, not participating.
Well, dude, we went to a freaking an airfield where LA County has all their helicopters. Walked into that motherfucker, and it's a whole dark room of just rows of lazy boy recliners. Just rows. It was a theater. They had their own movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, you got to be kidding me. This is what you do for work?
Yeah.
Until you get a call? I mean, like,
right.
Yeah, granted, like, it's shitty calls, but
there's certain firefighting agencies where they don't sleep because they're going call to call to call.
Yes,
to call.
Absolutely.
And then
you wait, is this the cot rooms?
Real Bradley? Is this the real Bradley? Welcome, Bradley.
But you police have cot rooms, right? For people who got overtime and they live far and they don't want to drive and they just want to get to sleep because they know they have to work in the morning.
Right.
And those are the most disgusting, smelliest rooms, fucking piss stained, beds, bunk beds that just smell like shit. And you're just like, wow, this is what we got. And you walk into a firehouse and you're like, this is what you got?
Yeah, but that's because cops aren't
they're fucking dirty.
Yeah.
Fucking dirty.
Yeah. I swear. Okay. So you leave food. You leave food out in the locker room. You leave equipment out in the locker room. You leave anything. You leave a flashlight. You leave batteries. It's gone. Right. You leave.
Speaking of which,
gone. You leave $1 bill out. Nobody
won't fucking touch it for like a year. It'll be in the same motherfucking spot for like a year.
Spot. Yeah.
How much do Danners cost? Just tell me the figure you think they cost. Right. So 250, 350, right? Anywhere, depending on if you get the low profile or the tall ones, right? So my boots were $330. Then they're the 6-inch ones. And my second pair, because my first pair got what? Stolen.
Right.
At work. Second pair. I just had my buddy check because I'm having to go back to work in January. And I'm like, hey man, can you just check and make sure my boots are there? And he sends me a live video and he goes, any of these are your fucking boots? And I said, nope. And he goes, your boots aren't here. Like, cool. So now I have to buy another pair of fucking Danners. So now I'm out like what? $700.
Oh, a third pair?
I have to buy a third pair of Danners. I've had 2 stolen now.
2? Oh, I thought it was 1 pair stolen, 2 stolen. Well,
the first one got stolen. The second got stolen.
By the way, apologies to those of you who had your earballs blown out last episode. Nick's one of them. Yeah. Chuck ran into some technical difficulties due to having to switch his studio up multiple times, but
Yeah.
Hopefully we're fixing that. And
Yeah.
also there's some different software we're using. So normally we had an automatic noise gate on it that would catch anybody with a hot mic and it would automatically bring the volume down. But sometimes live, that can get a little... Anyway, we're live. We're here. We're wasting time talking about this stuff. We decided to do... We've had a couple of things that have come up in the last couple of weeks that all seem to involve pursuits or driving code 3.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one doesn't really, but we just thought we would have this one for shits and giggles. Chuck, why don't you tee it up? This was somebody's cell phone on a busy Southern California freeway. So
yep. So it looks like a 5150 had a manic break, manic episode, gets naked, drives on the freeway, parks their car in the middle of like a 4-lane, 5-lane freeway, gets the fuck out with a loaded gun and starts shooting at cars. And you have a civilian passerby who's now stopped on the freeway just filming, along with countless others who are probably just filming.
Right. So let's just watch the video and then we'll talk about the filming thing. Okay, how's that? Right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he is shooting
in the middle of the freeway, and traffic is slowed down, created this huge gap, and there's a blur over.
Oh,
looks to be a black female. Listen.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah, it's a lady. Oh,
Yep.
Whoa!
I've heard of a desk pop.
Bro.
That's a freeway pop.
What the? What the?
Yo,
I think she ran out. She ran out.
She ran out?
Yeah, the gun's
Holy dude. Holy
okay. Now, can we watch this again real quick? Because thanks, Nick. You're repping your agree. Yeah, Ice Cube would agree that if you're drinking at a pub at 10:30 wearing your War Stories hat, yeah, today's a good day. I'm gonna put this back up because I want to explain something here.
That's her car.
It's you guys. Okay, that's your car. Hold on. Where does he say it? Does it?
he is shooting.
Okay. The words is, I don't know if it's a he or she. I think they're saying he. And they identified that this person's shooting on the freeway.
Right.
Because you hear them say they're shooting, and neither one of these fuckers takes the car and runs them over. Right? Here we go. At this point, I am now going to go, oh, there they are. And I'm going to turn the car.
Holy
and I'm going to run them over.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
And have my buddy pop the car and start
Whoa!
dropping the people's elbow.
Bro. What the
Yeah. Bro, what the fuck is right? Because why didn't you run her ass over? Right? I mean, am I wrong? I don't know. I don't think I'm wrong. What?
My buddy is on here and he's texting me. You fucker.
No, don't text your buddy. Put it in the chat.
No,
you're not answering.
He's on here. Watch. He's texting. He's fucking you fucker.
Yeah.
I see you now.
Oh, is that the Shagadelic punk?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can tell you this. Why didn't anybody hit her? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that a lot of the cars we can get it past, right? They're passing by. They're like, what the fuck is this naked lady doing on the freeway, right? Because you're not just going to run over every naked lady you see on the freeway. I mean, because it happens a lot in California.
I run over naked ladies on the freeway all the time, just to be fair.
But then you have a group of people that are sitting back watching, hearing the cracks go off, and you now know she's shooting. How are you going to feel if she shoots into a car and kills an innocent person or a kid or some shit? You know, not everyone's built for it, but if you see mayhem happening in front of you and you can take action, why wouldn't you? Right? Fucking door check her ass. Fucking hit her with the front of your car, because at this point it is a deadly situation, and if a good Samaritan, good guy with a freaking car, was to run her over and stop the threat, you'd be okay. You'd
Yeah.
be fucking fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying run everyone over who you see on the fucking freeway. You know, try not to. Hopefully
Right.
you don't see anybody on the freeway. But in California, transients and shit will come onto the freeway so much. But this is the first time I've seen one walking on the freeway shooting a gun naked as fuck. I don't. I
Yeah.
think this whole generation of, hey, let's film and watch what happens is fucking crazy. Let's do it for the likes and the views. You'll put your phone down and maybe help make it a little bit safer.
So yeah, there's a lot of things to unpack here, but the bottom line is if you have a chance to end a threat like that, just end the threat, you know, like it's yeah, it just freaking nail her and take her out. I
Yeah,
just
you'd
I
be
looked
fine.
at that and I was so frustrated because they're going, holy shit. But this goes to that other issue that why are you breaking out your phone and filming it? Right? All those people that film cops getting into fights, all those people that film ass whoopings, dude, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's just like, I gotta do this because this is gonna be great content. Like that should be social media, and has created this beast of a vile beast of, I gotta do it for the likes, I gotta do it for the shares, I gotta do it for the followers, the content. At this point, like if it's life and death stuff, fuck your content. That's a human being. There's humans on that freeway getting shot at right now. And who knows if she hit anyone. There was 2 cars parked on the fucking side of the road.
Yeah. I don't know
Stop.
if she hit
They
anybody.
could be down. Those people
Yeah.
could be injured.
Right.
And now you're just sitting back watching the mayhem and carnage just happen in front of you. It's like the same thing when those people were filming that crazy dude running around a fucking a swing set playground, a bunch of kids, and he's stabbing children. I think he was like in France or some shit, and they're just watching and filming and screaming and running around. And then you finally see a crazy a mom who just goes nuts and chases him because her instincts came out, and she's like, "No, this is my fucking kids. Like, get away."
Right.
Yet you have people filming this whole thing go down. How crazy is that? You know, granted, It is France and they don't have guns and shit like that, you know, whatever, but fucking, why don't you put your phone down and call 911?
I mean,
instead of filming.
There's so much to that pissed me off because it's
it's generational now. It's like this weird fucking,
like,
I don't know.
Help out. Don't be I guess maybe it's lost on me. I always thought that you were supposed to do your civic duty, like the posse comitatus, right? They can look at you and go, "Hey, you're coming with me. We're going to get the bad guy," right? Like, I guess growing up, I was always like, "Oh, does that really happen? When can that shit happen to me?"
Right.
You know.
I mean, would your dad tell you when you were growing up, if you saw a cop on the side of the road fighting, what did he tell you to do?
I mean,
because I know what mine told me.
I know what really tell me to do anything. It was always just understood. Like if you saw a cop fighting for his life, you just help, right? There was no there was no question about it because they didn't have a phone. There was no Rodney King to get out and videotape. Like you just helped.
Yeah, I was always told, yell blue, blue, blue as much as you can running up to let them know you're friendly and help that cop fucking subdue that person if he's getting his ass beat, you know, because a lot of these cops are all one-man cars and, you know, and the cops shouldn't have to fight fair, right?
Sorry,
that's not how we do things.
An invited guest on our live stream.
So, yeah, no worries.
I think I have to put a lock on my studio door now or an on-air sign now that we go live. I used to be able to edit this shit out, and now I can't edit this shit out.
Right.
So my apologies. Anyway, so that was the first one. Now it wasn't really code 3, but it was involving vehicles. And so we wanted to include that because honestly, are you guys, let's say firefighters out there, I know firefighters that get shot at responding to calls, right? It's how people will shoot at firefighters responding to calls is mind-boggling to me. Like it's, yeah, it was the moral right thing to do. Shagadelic, you're
100%.
right. It wasn't something you had to teach, right? And that's what I'm talking about. Like, you just did it. But I know firefighters that have gotten shot at, and I'm gonna tell you, if I'm driving that big red truck and somebody shoots at me, they're gonna be a speed bump. It's gonna be less than running over a charged fire hose, right?
Right.
Those charged fire hoses will put up more of a fuss than a meat sack will. And that's just real talk. You're going to get dealt with, because deadly force is deadly force is deadly force, right? Whether it's
100%.
a 50 grain bullet or a 4,000 pound automobile, or whatever it is, if you got to smoke, if it's a brick, it's a brick. A quick story. I don't know if I've told this one on the show. Chuck, you can tell me if you've heard me say this one. But
Okay.
we had an older cop sergeant who came up in the era where vests were not mandatory. Did I tell you this one? And he's in a fight, and the suspect's on top of him fighting him. And the backup officer shows up, and she goes to center punch this guy right in the back with her 38. And he's laying on top of this sergeant, kicking his ass. And she's just about to center punch him right through the back, contact shot. And the cop blower, this old salty sergeant, goes, wait, no, don't shoot him. I'm not wearing a vest. And he was worried about over penetration from the suspect into him. So she didn't shoot him. And they ended up fighting him and taking him into custody. And I thought, why did you take him into custody? Deadly force is still deadly force, right? Could you have butt stroked him over the skull and knocked him unconscious? Could you have grabbed a brick and hit him in the temple? Could you have taken a freaking Spyderco and shoved it in his earball? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are those things like nice and fun and happy to think about? No. But
yeah, it's crazy. It's like if you're going to fight and someone's going for your gun, and it's a fight for your life, and you take your knife out and you lay waste and you stab them. Is it technically like, we don't really have, most agencies don't really have policies regarding your fucking knife, right? But if it's life and death situation, I don't think ours does.
So here was our policy, that your knife had to be legal. And
yeah, I mean, there's that policies. Yeah.
I say that because I knew coppers that carried a double-edged Gerber dagger in their boot under their uniform pant leg. Now, there is a concealed weapons exemption in the penal code for cops to carry firearms. Everybody thinks in California cops are given concealed weapons permits as cops. That's not the case. The way it works is, by legal definition, it's not that they give you a concealed weapons permit. It's that by being a police officer in good standing under Section 832 of the Penal Code, you are permitted to carry a concealed weapon. You are exempt from the law. Right? It's not a permit. It's not permission. It's saying the law doesn't apply to you. Okay. Right. But there is no such distinction for the penal code section that says you can't carry a concealed dirk or dagger. And a double-bladed Gerber boot knife under your pant leg is, by definition, a concealed dirk or dagger, and you're technically in violation of a California weapons statute.
Right.
Now, are you going to get arrested for it? Probably not. But it's a real good way to turn a good deadly force incident into a bad deadly force incident.
Right.
Because
you just take out, go for it.
No, I was just saying you're carrying a weapon illegally. Yeah, and if the department wants to wipe their hands of you and say, fuck him, he was out of policy, boop, and they do the blackjack dealer, hey, look, dogs, I don't have any more treats in my hands. You're done. You're done.
Right. Now, if you're carrying a knife legally, that is for your city or state that you live in, we make sure that the state or city that you live in is the same as the state or as the city, because a lot of city ordinances will have their own policy on what to conceal. Like LA is a 3.5-inch knife. The state of California, I believe, is 4 that you can have. So if you're working for a city like that, then you should probably have a 3.5-inch blade, right? That folds. And if you use that in a fight and you stab someone because he's going for your gun, and you can articulate the reason why you broke policy and you used a knife to stab him instead of going for your backup or something else, and it was the only other option you could do, you'd be fine. However, there is this caveat that when the whole George Floyd thing happened, when there was the moratorium on rear naked chokes, and it went sweeping across the whole 50 states, the whole nation, right? No more chokeholds. Doesn't matter if it's deadly force or not. I actually asked this question. I said, okay, what if someone is going for my gun? I'm in a fight and I choke them out. I get in trouble. Yeah. What if they're going for my partner and they're killing my partner and I can't in good conscience come up and contact shot him because I'm worried about shooting my partner? And I just, the best way to do it is just put this person in rear naked and knock them unconscious, right? Am I going to be out of a job? They're like, yeah, but your partner will be alive. But you're going to be out of a job. And I'm like, good to fucking know. So there are things like that. So you got to be careful, and you got to watch out for things like that, and really know your agency and know your policies and know what they can screw you on and what they can't. But
right,
if it's your life on the line or your partner, think about that first.
Right. So for example, Chuck's thing with the 4 inches, right? I mean, I know Chuck knows a lot about 4 inches, but
yeah, apparently because I have a 6-inch boot.
So here's the deal.
6.
You actually can carry a knife longer than 4 inches in California. But what Chuck's referring to is municipal statutes. The only actual law in California that prohibits carrying a knife over 4 inches is if it's over 4 inches and is capable or is a fixed blade that's capable of readily stabbing and it's concealed upon your person. You cannot carry that in state or local public buildings or meetings and places like airports and passenger terminals and stuff like that, right? So there's certain restrictions that you have to know, right? And then there's certain muni codes. The LA I think has a muni code. The state of California has a muni code on blade, or has a penal code on blade length for switchblades. You can have a switchblade, but it can't be longer than 2 inches. Hey, Mike, welcome.
Yeah.
So knowing those laws, don't put yourself out of policy, right? Don't turn a good deadly force incident into a bad deadly force incident by being out of policy with your gear. Our policy said that you had to actually engrave either your serial number or your badge number on the blade.
I don't have that. Yeah.
And the reason behind it, for those of you who could figure it out, is so that knives can't be used as a throwdown, right?
Right.
So by requiring you to carry a knife with your name or whatever engraved on the blade, it avoids shooting somebody and then dropping the knife and dropping your own knife and going, "Hey, you have a fucking knife, so I shot him." Now, I mean,
with your prints all over it.
Yeah. So that brings up a funny story, and I'm not saying who this happened to, but I am saying I was there when it happened. Chief comes into the report writing room and is meeting. He had to come in for something late, and it was like 10:30. Graveyard shifts in there. He never gets to hang with the graveyard guys. Chief's cool as shit. Chief comes into report writing room and goes, basically, "What's up, gentlemen?" And he sits there and starts to bullshit with all the guys in the report room, like 4 coppers in there writing reports and the chief. And he's carrying a HK squeeze cocker, right? And all the cops start talking about guns, and he starts talking about backup guns and asking how many people are carrying backup guns and what they're carrying. And so it goes around the room. It gets to this one copper who shall remain nameless, but this copper's dad was also a cop. And he says, "I carry my dad's backup gun. So he gave it to me. It's an heirloom piece. And so to keep up tradition, I carry my dad's backup gun." And everybody had shown off their piece. And so this guy pulls out his backup gun out of his ankle. And it's this old, worn Chief Special that his dad got when he came on the department way back in the day. And Chief's like, "That's cool. Heirloom piece. Love the history. Love all that stuff." And then he goes, "Wait, you got it from your dad?" "Yeah." "And what year did he come on the department?" "Oh, it was early 70s. "Oh, where'd he get the gun?" Through the police department." Do you know if he ever registered it?" And then it dawned on everybody in that room that when he bought it, he probably was not required by law to register, right? And so then the next sentence that came out of the chief's mouth was hilarious. He goes, "You know what? Let's not even discuss that. Let's just agree that you're going to go get a brand new backup gun and put your dad's gun in like a case as a collector's item somewhere,
Yeah.
and not carry it on duty ever from this day forward." Is that, can we all
Unless
agree
you
on that?
register it.
Well, no, I mean, I'm sure it was registered. You know, he said, "Oh, I'm sure it was. I'm sure that officer registered it as appropriately as what he was supposed to, right?" I have no idea. But my point is that it was kind of one of those, in some circles that could be considered a throwdown.
Oh, for sure, because it's unregistered, doesn't have any trace to it.
Right. And
Yeah.
so the same thing happened. The same thing could happen with a knife. So don't turn a good deadly force situation into a bad deadly force situation.
Yeah.
Now here's a quick one. So as we get back to deadly force and using your car as deadly force, let's add, don't use deadly force with your vehicle against your partners. Here we go.
Yeah.
The ground was not seriously injured.
Oh, we have to back this up. Here we go. So apparently we were already at the end of it. We're still learning how to play these games.
The sirens, the screech of tires, and then the moment of impact. It's hard to believe the LAPD officer slammed by a car, thrown through the air, tumbling across the ground, was not seriously slammed by a car, thrown. It's hard to believe the LAPD officer slammed by a car, screech of tires.
The officer is turning in his running code. This is his VIX. He's turning a corner, and there's an officer in foot pursuit crossing the street up a driveway in front of his patrol car. And it's this officer running in front of him is probably about, 30 feet in front of him? Two car lengths.
Yeah, about two.
Two
for
car
sure,
lengths.
two.
Okay. So you got a 2-second gap there. 2-second reactionary gap, which is not enough, but this officer's not going too fast, but he's going pretty fast. And now as he rounds the corner, the foot pursuit officer he just barely sees him out of the corner of his eye and gets nailed by the front driver's corner bumper, and then goes like, seriously, luckily there's a puddle of water, and he goes sliding.
It looks like someone hit a fire extinguisher too, or not a fire, a fucking fire hydrant.
Fire hydrant, yeah. And
Yeah.
So Mike wants to know how did he fuck that up? And
Tunnel vision.
Yeah,
Plain and simple.
That's plain and simple, right? Like he was so hyper focused on the pursuit.
It's probably It's probably a backup.
I mean, there's plenty. It looks like there's plenty of cops there.
Yeah, it's probably a foot
video?
pursuit backup, and everyone's going crazy, and they're coming up, and they're not really looking left and right and clearing as they're coming around the corners, and they don't see this vehicle right here. They don't see the driver doesn't see his jet, and you hear the partner officer too late go, "Watch out! Watch out! Watch out!" Because he probably has a little bit of tunnel vision too. It's his job to break the tunnel vision of the driver.
Right.
Hey, look to your left, clear the left. Hey, slow down, pump the brakes a little bit. We're getting close. Because you're not going to do yourself any favors if you overdrive in a residential neighborhood, coming close to where the officer help call is, or the backup call is, or the foot pursuit. Where it's kind of going. You got to be watching, because there's people running left and right. Cars going to be rolling code, and I've seen it personally. Something like this happened. It was similar like this. I saw my buddy get center punched by a fucking vehicle because he didn't clear his left, and it was late at night, and there was a backup call and help call for officers, and he comes across the intersection. It was a T, and gets center punched. I watch it. I'm like, oh fuck. At that point, I can no longer help the officers that are fighting. I have to go and render aid to him.
Taking yourself out of it.
Yeah, you just took yourself out. And this same thing happens here. You're overdriving, got tunnel vision. It happens to the best of us, but your partner should be, doing a really good job. It's one of the hardest jobs you have to do with your partner is constantly be checking him like, hey, slow down. Hey, watch your speed. Hey, watch the road. Hey, we have cars up here. Watch out for officers. And as everyone's hyper focused on, hey, we got to get there. We got to help. We got to get there fast. But you got to slow down, and get there.
Right. Now I'm going to show you guys a picture. For those of you that know the agency I worked for, this picture that I'm about to show you came from an agency just to the south of where I lived. So it was about an hour south of where I worked and about 25, 30 minutes south of where I lived. As I show you this picture, I'm going to tell you, I met the officer that was involved. He survived and is no longer a cop. Okay. But when you look at this picture, I also want to tell you that what happened in this car and the fact that the cop survived caused the Los Angeles Police Department, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, Department of Transportation, NHTSA, and Ford to come out and examine the car and figure out how in the fuck this cop survived.
The only thing they're missing is a CHP skid team.
I mean, they probably were there too.
Jesus, that's a lot.
You ready?
Yeah.
I know that.
Shit, dude. And he survived?
Yep. So
did he get ejected?
No. See how they had to pry the door backwards to get him out?
Oh, I thought it just fucking blew open, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah.
He's lucky.
Yeah, very lucky. So this copper,
God dang,
was rolling code to a call. And here's the thing: it was a late night Berg call, like an alarm, right? And as he's rolling in the rain, he's going too hot, and he hit a pole. Actually, it was a tree. And you can even see, if you look, you can see debris from the tree still embedded in the car. The tree wins every time, right? You have to understand something. The tree's going to win every time. Even if you fuck that tree up pretty good, the tree still wins, right?
Yeah.
And if you're wondering how he's alive by the grace of God. He broke his leg in 5 places and is never going to be a cop again.
Yeah, but he probably can't walk really well.
Going to be a cop
at all. Wow, that's crazy. That's wild. And you know, honestly, it can happen to the best of us. I was running code 3 by myself. I was working by myself one day, just handling report calls, and a foot pursuit comes out, and I'm right down the street. I'm like, oh fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm about to go get involved. So I start beating feet, and the only thing I have to do is go north, and I'm going to intersect it. Bam, right there. I'm like literally a block and a half down. So I start going, and I'm not paying attention to my speed. And I see the traffic is stopped at a red light. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then I start to slow down, and I'm like, I'm going way too fucking fast, and I'm not going to be able to stop. So what I do, and I was able to break myself out of the tunnel vision. I'm like, fuck, I'm about to plow all these cars. And if I wouldn't have made an evasive action right then and there, I probably would have fucking killed myself and the people in the front of me. So I ended up recognizing that, screeching and almost locking up my brakes, came off of the brakes, hit the accelerator, and turned my wheels real quick. And I jumped a fucking median. Boom. In a patrol car. And I was like, holy now the median was like a fucking 8-inch off the ground. Wasn't like even a foot. It was just like a small one that kind of separates the lanes. And I popped that bitch. And next thing I know, I'm right in the foot pursuit.
Yeah.
I got there just in the nick of time, entered into the foot pursuit, and shortly thereafter, suspect was caught. Vehicle, not a scratch on it, wasn't fucking harmed at all. And we were good to go, but that could have ended badly. And if I wasn't able to break that tunnel vision, I wouldn't be here. So it's like you gotta kind of like weigh your options, man.
Yeah, this is what you did. You Dukes of Hazzard in that shit.
That was wild.
Now,
but it happens. Like, how many times have you been in a pursuit and you go to hit the brakes and you don't have brakes because you've been hitting them so hard that your brakes are actually red and they stopped working?
Oh yeah,
like,
brake fade.
Yeah, that happens a lot, and you got to be careful of it. You got to be cognizant of it, so don't overdrive, and that way your brakes work when you need them to work. And try to break tunnel vision.
Fade. Watch out for brain fade, because the more excited you get, the more your brain does not work. Right.
Right.
I can 100%. Tell you that I saw a pursuit intervention technique on the suspect very similar to what happened to that cop. And it was unavoidable. The suspect was on foot. Cops driving in, suspect comes around a corner, cops coming up that corner, and he just boom, and the guy, went down, did a couple of flips, popped back up because they're cockroaches. Copper gets out, used to be a football player, just freaking went full tackle mode on him and popped out the car and got him. But that was lucky, because had that suspect been caught under his wheel or his tire and he'd have run him over and killed him, that shit, I mean, he'd have taken a bath on it, right? I don't know that there would have been any justification like, oh fuck, I didn't see him. And so you got to be responsible. I'll tell you another quick story. I think I may have mentioned. I have a buddy. He's retired now. He was driving to jail, and he wasn't driving like an asshole, right? He was just driving to jail, and he was trying to get there and get done. And as he goes to jail, he sees he was overdriving his headlights, right? And if you guys don't know what overdriving your headlights is, anybody who's taken a good motorcycle class will know what overriding a headlight is. But a lot of people don't talk about it in cars. It's where you're going in pitch black with only your headlights to guide you at a speed where the headlights don't throw far enough to for you to react to things that pop up in your headlights, right? So what they're saying is if you're going 80 and the only light you have to see by is your headlights, you're overriding your headlights or overdriving your headlights, because you cannot react at 80 miles an hour fast enough for something to pop up in your headlights and you to do something safe, right?
Right.
So that's that kind of concept. Well, he was driving to jail, and it was pitch black, and he was overdriving his headlights, and he wasn't even going 80. He was just going freeway speed. It just happened to be a pitch black area. And this object looms in the middle of the road and boom, boom, right over it. And he goes, oh, fuck, because he realizes it was a person.
Oh, shit.
And he gets out of his patrol car and he goes back. This guy had been run over 3 or 4 times before he ran over him.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yes.
No, but also a bad thing.
Right. And so what happened was jail policy changed about releasing people during hours of darkness and letting them walk away from the jail after that. He had been released from jail and was walking the road away from the jail in the pitch black, and some motorist in the middle of the night hit him, knocked him into traffic, or he was crossing traffic and got hit, and then subsequently got ran over like 4 more times. So the first car that hit him is what killed him or incapacitated him, and then subsequent cars were just using him as a speed bump at that point. And just to add, yes, they did catch the person who originally did it, because she took her car in to the mechanic shop and tried to claim that she hit a deer. Only the mechanics were smart enough to recognize that the hair in her radiator was not deer fur, but human scalp. And so they called the highway patrol. Highway patrol came out and then knew about this dude that had been killed in the middle of the roadway the other night, and put 2 and 2 together and were able to nail her for being the one that had run over him and driven away. But that's not even code 3. That's just driving beyond what your headlights can see. So now as we
but real quick, that's not the only thing you can overdrive.
Yeah.
You hold on.
Yeah, you can overdrive a lot of things. So the next video we're gonna do is it's this one's kind of funny. It got attributed originally to LAPD, but it was just in the Southern California area. So it was not LAPD. I believe it was in the city of Corona, like the beer. And what happened is that this motorist,
there we go,
had decided to flee from the police in I think a stolen truck. Maybe not in a maybe not stolen, but the truck is definitely hot, and he's definitely keen to get away from the police. But he's one of those like work trucks, like a panel truck, right? So think of like a paramedic truck with all the boxes.
The plumber's truck.
Right, plumber's truck, right?
The worst thing to run away in.
So I'm gonna share this, but and then I'll start it, and it's on YouTube, and we're going to be joining the pursuit already in progress. All right, so here you go. So there's your white truck. And this one just baffles me as we get through it, because he's
Is there sound?
on the 91 freeway. Yeah, you're not hearing it?
No.
It's here.
Mm-mm.
It's weird how you don't have sound. But regardless, you can see this guy's running from the police. He's as he's driving, he decides they're trying to pit him, right? So he backs into the cop right there. And I think, yeah, here. So he comes around this corner. I'll show you where he backs into the cop. Cop's catching up. And he gets to this intersection. He slows down. And cops come right up on him as he goes through the intersection. And then for no reason, he stops and he backs up and backs into the police that are chasing him. And now they're going, oh, no, all the TV. I hate TV newscasters in pursuits, dude. They are the worst. Backing up into him. For those of you that can't see it, that are just listening to this. Now he keeps going. And then randomly, I think he knows it's the end of the road and he's trying to get away. That's why he's trying to back. They try to pit him because he's in this bad spot where they think they can box him in. So now they box him in and he starts to back his truck up, pushing the patrol car behind him out of the way. I think he gets hung up on the bumper or something with the lift gate, finally pulls himself loose, and then boom, drives in between these two trees.
Yeah. The funny thing is that when I was watching this pursuit happen, they're like, "Oh, now he's stuck. Oh, the cops are gonna move in. Oh, right, so you see a cop."
We'll see,
dude.
I don't know how to explain this. Maybe one of you guys can explain it. You just see. Okay. So he's stuck. There's an officer on a foot. There's a guy, Unit 74. He's trying to back out. He's got himself stuck. Unit 74 is now doing a 75 million point Austin Powers turn. Right? And he's not even stuck in the trees. I think he's stuck on the curb. There we go.
Boom, dude. Doesn't even hit the truck.
Hits the tree. And the guy realizes I can't back up, but I can go forward and just drives forward.
And then through a fence.
Through a fence, down onto the freeway, under the overpass, the wrong way in traffic.
He's on the freeway. Dude, look at it. He's fucking like
dragging ladders.
He's all fucked up.
I think he dropped his transmission at this point. Like the truck is just smoking, and everybody's trying to get out of his way. It's just a shit show. I'm not sure what that cop was trying to do when
fucking trying to box him in, I guess.
But he didn't he didn't go around him and block him in on the front. He rammed the tree. Do you think maybe he was trying to thread the needle between the trees to get around to the front of him? And he just fucked up?
I think what he was trying to do is he was trying to hit him in the passenger side and wedge him against the tree so he could stop moving.
You think so?
Against the other tree. But he undershot and just center punched the fucking tree. Yeah.
My favorite is the fact that now
I think he was trying to lock him in.
The guy just stops and waits. Like he's like, eh. So this is like, I mean, we all know pursuit driving is some of the most dangerous driving you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fact. And we've shown you plenty of examples of that tonight where, I mean, come on, dude. Like, you're just be safe. You got to arrive alive.
Yeah. And know your agency's policy too, because most agencies do not have a ramming policy. They do not have a blocking in policy. They only have a pit or spike strip policy. And a lot of agencies, you don't even have a pit policy because you're not trained in it and your vehicles aren't set up for it. And, you know, things like that, you know.
Yeah.
So know your policy, because if you don't have that policy and you ram this dude because you want to end it, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Now you're going to get in trouble because you just destroyed your cop car.
Yes. And I don't know about you. I don't know about your agencies, but like there's a lot of agencies down there. If you ding a car, it's a day. minimum, period. End of story. Automatic, right? They take it so seriously. You ding a car, you're getting a day. Suspended.
I almost set
period.
my car on fire.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I was going to burn it to the ground.
What happened?
I crossed the polarities getting a jump.
On your police car?
Yeah,
Who set the jumper cables up?
I did.
I'm proud of you.
In the middle of the night. I was just
Oh.
fucking it was nighttime. There was street lamps overhead. And I was looking down and I was like, oh, that's red to red. And I'm even talking to myself, black to black. And then I go over here, red to red, black to black. But
Your
I
colorblind?
somehow switched them on mine, and fucking the moment I hooked it up, and I was like, oh, you got juice, rev it, give it, get some freaking jump it, whatever. And next thing I know, they're like, something's wrong. And I look back and it's smoking, and I'm like, oh shit, plastic is dripping off of the jumper cables, and now the jumper cables are now melting into the front of the vehicle. And I'm like, oh my God, fuck, what do I do? And so I take my baton out and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking hit it. And they're like, dude, that's metal. I'm like, it's got a rubber grip. I don't know what else to do. I can't burn my cop car to the ground. So I smacked it, and I was like, I hope this doesn't shock me. And I smacked it, and it popped off, and it stopped, and I was able to let it cool down and pry everything off, and pull all the plastic that just got melted into the bumper, into the front of the grill.
Yeah. Sam,
Off.
you're right. Chuck almost needed the Lazy Boy Napper squad to come out and
Dude, it was bad. And I was like, fuck, what do I do? And I had to come
Tell
clean.
your
I told
boss.
my agency, I said, hey man, this is what happened. I wrote an employee report form that documented the incident. I had to take photos. I had to walk it over to the mechanics and be like, hey, I'm an idiot. This is what happened.
Right.
Can you just check it out? Now, granted, here's the fucking caveat to silver lining. The car was having problems with constantly turning off and like doing some weird shit with, like, I don't know if it was with the alternator or the starter or whatever the fuck. I'm not a mechanic, but it was always having problems where it would just die. And I was like, weird. Ever since then, never happened again. I fixed it. By my fuck up, I fixed whatever was wrong with that vehicle, because it never had a problem where you would just, turn off everything and you get back in and, it would start right up. Before, it would just die. And I got in trouble. I didn't take days, but I did get in trouble a little bit, in the form of I got fucking hazed for the next 2 months. In every roll call.
Haze.
Well, it's a good way. It's
Yeah,
camaraderie. I got ribbed every fucking roll call, and had to give roll call training on how to properly set jumper cables. And then I had to show my jumper cables all torched. Every fucking roll call.
Yeah.
Every fucking roll call.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably learned my lesson.
Really?
It was all good and fun and games. Like, yeah, but it could have ended worse.
Now, there have been incidents where guys have had to endure that kind of, hazing or fucking with. There's sometimes where the department does it in circumstances where they shouldn't. But we can talk about that at a later date. There have been cops whose lives have been destroyed. Especially, there's a particular LAPD cop that back in the 60s had to go to all the roll call trainings and explain how he had fucked up and gotten his partner killed. And
oh shit, really?
Yeah. So there's a famous incident called, if you ever read the book, called The Onion Field. It was two police officers. It's written by Joseph Wambaugh. It's a novel based on the actual events of two police officers that stopped a stolen car suspect in Hollywood. I've actually been to the exact spot where they stopped the car. Stopped this car. The suspects got the drop on the patrol car. Cops took one of them hostage, right? So they took this young cop hostage.
Ow.
And told his partner, give up your gun or we're shooting your partner. So he gave up his gun to try and save his partner's life.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Because that back then, that you made a judgment call, right? It was up to the officer. If you thought you could save your partner's life by putting your gun down and letting those guys get away, that's what he was trying to do. Well, they subsequently took both of them hostage, kidnapped them both, and drove them out to an onion field in Bakersfield, California, which is, if you don't know LA, that's like a couple hours north of LA. right?
Oh, Southland did an adaptation of this.
Okay. So they
Yeah.
get these two guys to Bakersfield. Yeah, I remember they did. They get these two guys to
Mhm.
Bakersfield, and they execute one of the officers in front of the other. And as they're getting ready to execute the other one, they turn their attention to execute the first one. They lose sight of the second one in this dark onion field. He escapes, hides out in the onion field. He's able to get away on foot. He's able to get to a farmer and some migrant workers. They help him get to a phone. They drive him back to LA and get him back to the LAPD alive and safe. His partner is dead. Subsequent to that, LAPD developed a policy that said, thou shalt not ever give up your duty weapon because your partner is held hostage.
Yeah.
And then they made him go to every roll call and tell the story from the perspective of, don't be like me. Don't get your partner killed. Don't give up your gun. And they made him relive that story over and over and over at every roll call
Mhm.
to try and make an example out of him. And
Right.
if we're being fair, back then we probably didn't know as much about psychology and trauma, and know that basically they thought that it was the best. For some people, it's probably well intentioned. For others, they were probably like, "Fuck that guy. He needs to feel that in shame and embarrassment. He needs to learn a lesson." Right? There's still an element of that. But what ended up happening is it drove him nuts. He quit the department, became a kleptomaniac, and drank himself to death.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So read The Onion Field by Joseph Wambaugh if you want to hear the true story of that incident. But
Wow.
you guys you got to know what you can and can't do. So the reason we were late on this episode, besides my hunting trip and everything you guys know from if you've listened to Locker Room, so we had 2 days that were completely blacked out, and then Matt had a day that was completely blacked out for Locker Room. So we were going to record over the weekend, and unfortunately, some stuff happened in the last 24 hours locally that kind of set things on its head. The Post Falls Police Department. This is how we're getting into our dedication. So I will start by sharing this photo. How's that? Because we should start by paying tribute to this hero.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to give you guys this information. This is a Post Falls Police Department officer who died in the line of duty yesterday.
Right.
And he basically was found unresponsive in his police car. So the narrative, the press release reads: Post Falls Police confirmed that one of their officers died while on duty Sunday. 36-year-old Officer Nicholas McDaniel failed to respond to a status check from Post Falls Communications Center after completing a call for service. When officers arrived at his last known location, they found him slumped over the wheel of his police vehicle. Officers started CPR until Kootenai County Fire Rescue took him to Kootenai Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead. They did an autopsy, and the cause of death for this 36-year-old is a massive heart attack.
Right.
Officer McDaniels had worked for the Post Falls Police Department for a little under a year and had spent the prior 13 years as a police officer in Hawaii. The mayor of the city said, "We are proud of the time that Officer McDaniel gave serving our citizens and fellow colleagues at the city of Post Falls. There are no words that can make this loss easier to bear for Officer McDaniel's family and for our colleagues. As a city, we mourn Officer McDaniel's death deeply, and our thoughts and prayers are with his friends, family, and colleagues. He leaves behind a fiance and children." So for those of you that listen to this show, he worked for the agency that John lateraled to when John moved to Idaho. Right. John no longer works for this agency, and we'll have another episode about that. John has moved on to a bigger agency for a better pay and more opportunity. Fine, great, good for him. Good luck. We're happy for him, but he said this dude was so good that when he left this police department, he went to him and said, "Dude, you should come with me. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. And unfortunately, this guy was like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. You know, I just like working for this community and blah 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 blah." That was like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Right.
And unfortunately, now he is no longer with us from a massive heart attack. He served his community and he died just after a call for service. We can speculate as to why, but the bottom line is this is not the time for speculation when we are in the first few hours of losing a brother officer. The other part to this that is connected to this show is someone also connected to John, who has been a guest on this show and who is a friend of the show, also works for this agency and was one of the first people to respond to the scene. So without putting him on the spot or throwing him under the bus, or I just want to tell him we know who he is. I've reached out to him personally, and we're all there for him because coming up on your partner like this is not something any of us ever want to do. I can tell you exactly how much I had. I had 17 weeks on the job when one of my FTOs and mentors crashed a motorcycle and almost died, but had no pulse for a while, and watched as one of my other FTOs did CPR on him in the middle of the street. And it fucked us all up, especially the guy who did CPR on him. He got a life-saving medal for it because he did revive him, and the guy survived. He was never the same again and was unable to be a cop anymore after that. But I can tell you right now, that life-saving medal that my buddy got means nothing to him. He would much rather never have had to perform CPR on his partner.
Right.
And would much rather have that officer still working for that department.
100%.
So
100%.
I don't know what else to add to that, Chuck.
I'll add this. There's a silent killer out there that kills more law enforcement officers, more military, and more firefighters than we care to admit. And it is cardiac arrest, high blood pressure, stuff like that. Your heart. Keep that shit in check. Get yourself a blood pressure cuff. Monitor it. Get a cardiologist who you see regularly. Don't wait until you're 40, 50 years old. You know, I'm retired, I'm going to get a cardiologist. No. In this profession, as first responders, get a cardiologist at the age of 30. You're going to need it, and the chances are you're going to have high blood pressure. So you need to get it checked and keep it in check, because if you do, you can have a longer life expectancy. Okay? Now, I don't know this gentleman. It's tragedy what happened. It's horrible. But this should hit home to everybody who's a first responder, because it can happen to any one of us.
Right.
And you don't want to have to roll and see
when I got home today, I talked to my wife, and she was like, "Man, such a fluke. You know, it just happens." And I said, "No, you know what? This messes with me and all my buddies more than if he'd have been shot and killed in the line of duty." And she goes, "What?" And I said, "Absolutely." She goes, "How so?" And I said, "We signed up for the shot and killed in the line of duty part. We signed up to go and be the tip of the spear. But no one expects to clear a routine call and stroke out in their patrol car for no reason other than it was their time. And at 36 years old, it's not your time ever."
No, that's young. That's young. That's a year older than myself.
Yeah.
And I have a cardiologist who I see fucking regularly. Okay. You got to be prepared, guys. And you don't want to have that cardiac event and be behind the 8 ball on it. You want to be ahead of it. You really do. And you don't want your partners having to come up and see that and having to work on you, because it's going to fuck with them, and it's going to really fuck with them. And we both reached out, to our brother officer who was involved, and made sure he was okay, because, having to see that and having to go through that is traumatic as shit. And I feel for everyone involved. I really feel for his family, because chances are he probably didn't even know. And now it just comes out of the blue. And man, it's so sad.
Mm-hmm. So, Officer Nick McDaniel, rest easy, brother. We've got it from here. And it's always hard, but it's even harder when either you know the person or you know the people that know the person, because it's just, you don't want to see your buddies in pain. So
100%.
Yeah. So rest easy, brother. We got it from here. Well, I think that about covers it for this week.
Yep.
I'm glad you guys all joined us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sam, I don't know. It's I mean, it's literally, we're hitting the just over 24-hour mark.
Yeah.
It's pretty messed up. It's pretty sad. And yeah, prayers to the family.
Thank you. Yeah.
So rest easy, brother. We've got it from here. We always end on a downer note because we have to, and we want to pay tribute. And we don't normally do it on debriefs. We usually just do it when we have guests, but because of the situation and why we had to postpone doing this debrief, we wanted to add that to the end of our episode. So, all right. Well, Chuck, what do you want to tell?
I just want to say, everyone, hey, thank you for listening. It's gonna be quick. My kids are coming through the door, and it's about to get loud as shit. So please follow us, like and share our content. Go to YouTube, hit that follow button, hit that bell notification, hit all that fancy mumbo jumbo BS. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. Our Instagram is at war_stories_official, and our Facebook is at War Stories Podcast. Like and share our post, follow us, give us a like there. You can also support us via our website, www.warstoriesofficial.com. Grab some of our merch. If you think you have a story you want to share or you want to come on the show, go to booking.warstories@gmail.com. Again, that is booking.warstories@gmail.com. Send me your stuff. I can get you booked. If you have a friend who you think would be a great fit, let them know about us. Give them our info. And we're always looking for law enforcement, corrections, fire, dispatchers, medics, veterans, military, active duty. If you have a story you want to share, let us know.
Yep.
Thank you.
And then you can always send us stuff for our midweek show, our other live show, which is the Locker Room, where, for those of you who don't know, we kind of take a break from just telling cop stories and firefighter stories, and we start talking about what's going on in the world and the stuff that's going on in our lives and the stuff that's going on with everybody and bugging us or making us happy. And we talk about it from the perspective of people that do this job. And we include Marco, for those of you that know Marco, because he's a civilian and he knows what's up. And he keeps us honest and keeps us grounded.
Right. And if you guys want to share a controversial police thing or whatever, you want us to debrief it, or you think it's controversial, shoot it on over to us. Either the booking or the mailbag. Probably the mailbag, because that's where we get all the mail stuff. So, and it's not really a booking. So go to mailbag, drop it there, and we'll cover it, and we'll try to tackle it here to the best of our abilities. And then if you have questions regarding it, shoot them, and we'll try to answer those as well.
Yep. And until our next episode, come home with your shield or on it.